The scene opens with Deadpool sitting in a taxi driven by an Indian driver named Dopinder. Deadpool, feeling bored in the backseat, moves to sit in the front seat next to Dopinder. Dopinder asks, "Why do you wear that red suit? Is it Christmas today?" Deadpool replies, "No, my friend. I'm wearing this for a special reason I've been waiting a long time for. 1 year, 3 weeks, and 14 minutes to be exact. Today, I'm going to meet the person who did this to my face." He lifts his mask slightly to reveal his scarred face and then quickly covers it again. The scene then shifts to the main villain, Ajax. He is in the middle of a deal when his client arrives. The client criticizes Ajax for not delivering on time. Ajax grabs the client by the throat and lifts him up, saying, "Do you want to keep all the goods for yourself? Won't you give others a chance?" Seeing Ajax's menacing demeanor, the client becomes frightened and agrees, quickly leaving while muttering, "Mutants can never be trusted." The scene shifts back to Deadpool, still in the car, when he suddenly remembers that he left his bag of guns at home. Dopinder asks, "Should I turn the car around?" Deadpool replies, "No, we don't have time. I need to catch him today." He has 2 swords and 1 gun with only 12 bullets. When they reach their destination, Deadpool asks Dopinder to stop the car. Dopinder then asks for the fare, to which Deadpool responds, "I don't have any money, but here's a high five. Take it and let me go." Deadpool sits on the bridge and starts sketching how he's going to take down his enemies. Suddenly, he sees his enemy's car approaching. With a heroic jump, he lands right in their car and starts taking down everyone inside. This marks the beginning of the most epic fight scene in the movie. Deadpool, with just 12 bullets, meticulously takes out each of his enemies one by one. Despite the enemy's best efforts shooting at him, nothing affects Deadpool because of his super healing power. He skillfully dodges bullets and uses his swords to eliminate his foes. Whenever Deadpool gets shot, he heals himself instantly and strikes back at his enemies. As he continues taking them down one by one, he calls out for his partner, Negasonic. Colossus, not wanting Deadpool to cause so much chaos, arrives at the scene with Negasonic in their spaceship. They reach the location where Deadpool is finishing off his enemies. Deadpool spots a biker trying to escape. He throws his sword at the bike's tire, causing the biker to crash. Deadpool beats him up thoroughly and finally removes his helmet, asking, "Recognize me, Francis?" The biker, realizing it's Wade Wilson, exclaims, "How did you survive?" At that moment, Colossus and Negasonic arrive and persuade Deadpool not to kill Francis. Colossus gives a speech saying, "Killing someone is never the solution to any problem." Deadpool says, "He's a killer. He murdered my wife and now I've got the chance to get my revenge. Let me do this." During their conversation, Francis seizes the opportunity and escapes. Deadpool gets furious at Colossus because his speech gave Francis the time to run away. Deadpool punches Colossus, but his hand breaks. He tries another punch, and the other hand breaks too. He then attempts to kick Colossus, but his leg breaks as well. Finally, Colossus handcuffs Deadpool and starts to take him away, but Deadpool doesn't want to go. He pulls out a knife from his pocket and begins cutting his own hand off. He finally frees himself and jumps off the bridge, landing in a garbage truck below. Deadpool then explains to the audience, "This story isn't that serious. It's actually a romantic one." The story then flashes back 2 years, showing Wade Wilson, who was once in the army. He had committed many killings, but was eventually discharged and became a mercenary. Wade Wilson's job was to help people who were being tormented by their enemies. He would take money from them to take out their adversaries. One day, Wade Wilson arrives at a bar where his friend Weasel is the bartender. Wade asks Weasel to make him a terrible drink. Then, as a waiter walks by, Wade tells him to give the drink to Chunky McCheese and say it's from Chocolate Thunder. When the burly man drinks it, he gets really angry and starts beating up Chocolate Thunder. Wade sits back and enjoys the fight. We also learn that the bar hosts bets on who will win or lose the fights, and this game is called Deadpool. At that moment, a woman named Vanessa walks in. She is a prostitute. She approaches Wade Wilson and asks if he would like to spend some time with her. Wade replies, "I only have $239.50. How much time will that get me?" Vanessa responds, "Just under an hour." An unusual conversation starts between them. They begin talking about past events in their lives. One says, "I was beaten and locked inside a washing machine." The other shares, "I was locked inside a closet. I was beaten for years, touched, and my life has never been good." Vanessa shares, "My life hasn't been great either." Their shared experiences lead to a strong bond. The movie then shows their intimate scenes over the course of a year. November, December, January, and March pass by. It seems like they were made for each other. They enjoy each other's company and fall in love. On Christmas, Wade proposes to Vanessa with a candy ring, saying, "I want to marry you." As he starts to get up, he suddenly collapses. Vanessa rushes him to the hospital, where they learn from the doctor that Wade has cancer in his lungs and liver. Vanessa is shocked and devastated. She tells the doctor, "There must be some cure. My uncle had it once and he got better." Seeing Vanessa so worried about him makes Wade feel terrible. He starts to feel like a burden to her. They return home, and Wade tells Vanessa, "I don't have much money, not enough to keep the house running or to live." Vanessa responds, "We'll find a solution to this problem together. Please don't lose hope. Don't give up." Vanessa says, but Deadpool, or Wade Wilson, knows that staying would make him a burden on her. So he leaves home and goes straight to his friend Weasel. Weasel tells him, that guy in the corner in the black suit has been waiting for you. Go talk to him. He might be able to help you. Wade approaches the man, who introduces himself as the recruiter. The recruiter says, we know you have cancer and you're running out of time, but we have a treatment that can not only cure your cancer but also give you superhuman strength. You'll become incredibly powerful and immune to diseases. We're creating a super soldier program and need recruits. We'd be thrilled if you joined. Wade finds this hard to believe and leaves, but he keeps the card. Wade is deeply troubled, knowing he's in a terrible financial situation. He needs to support Vanessa, and finally he decides to give it a shot and goes back to the recruiter. Wade is strapped to a stretcher and taken to a lab. Here we meet two main characters of the story, Angel Dust and Ajax. Angel Dust straps Wade Wilson to the stretcher, while Ajax injects a serum into his veins. Ajax explains, we're injecting a mutant gene into your body. This will eliminate your cancer and give you incredible abilities. However, not everyone develops mutant powers. Sometimes these experiments fail. To ensure success, we need to push your body to its limits, causing you immense pain. Ajax subjects Wade to repeated beatings, electric shocks, and submersion in ice-cold water to induce extreme pain, hoping to trigger the activation of his mutant genes and his healing powers. But nothing seems to work. In the next scene, Wade is seen talking to a fellow patient. Wade shares that these people are extremely cruel. At that moment, Ajax arrives and says, you haven't become a mutant yet, but today I'm going to perform an experiment that will either turn you into a mutant or kill you. Wade calls him by his real name, Francis. Wade reveals that he had stolen this name from Ajax's coat tag. Francis never wanted anyone to know his real name, and hearing it makes him furious. In his anger, he locks Wade in a containment chamber. Francis explains, this is an airtight glass chamber. You'll struggle to breathe, and when you're about to pass out, a bit of air will be released so you can catch a breath. Then the air pressure will be reduced again, making it hard to breathe. You'll either die or emerge as a mutant. Wade is deeply hurt by these events. As he follows Vanessa to her door, he catches a glimpse of his reflection in the glass and realizes how disfigured he has become. Distressed, he leaves and goes straight to his friend Weasel. Wade explains everything to Weasel, detailing how the experiment went wrong and how he believes Vanessa will never accept him now because of his disfigured appearance. Weasel tries to reassure Wade, saying, true love always prevails. She'll accept you for who you are. However, when Wade removes his hoodie, Weasel is visibly shocked and says, it looks like someone sprinkled water on a burning pan. Wade explains that the person who can fix his face is still out there, and now he wants to find him. Weasel comes up with an idea, suggesting, why not stay dead in her eyes and become a masked vigilante? Wade agrees, but wonders what his new name should be. As he looks around, his eyes land on a board with the word Deadpool written on it. Inspired, he decides to take on the name Deadpool. Following Weasel's advice, Wade designs a masked suit for himself. The initial color is white. He also covers his wall with photos of all the people he wants to kill, those who worked with Francis in the lab. Determined, Deadpool decides to hunt down each one of them to find Francis's location. If they refuse to cooperate, he'll take them out on the spot. For an entire year, Wade Wilson tracks down Francis's gang members. He hunts each one, asking only one question before killing them. Where is Francis? Those who answered were spared. Those who didn't met their end. Despite his efforts, Deadpool couldn't get any leads on Francis's whereabouts. One day, Deadpool goes to a laundromat to wash his suit, which is stained with blood. As he scrubs the bloodstains, an elderly blind woman nearby says, if you have bloodstains on your clothes, you can remove them with lemon and soda. And if the stains still don't come out, start wearing red clothes. Blood isn't as noticeable on red. Following her advice, Deadpool finally creates his iconic red costume. After much effort, Deadpool finally tracks down the recruiter and gets Francis's location from him. The scene shifts to Deadpool sitting in a taxi with Dopinder. The story then resumes from where Deadpool fell into the garbage truck. He climbs out of the truck and heads to a house, which belongs to the blind lady he met in the laundromat a year ago. She lives alone. When he arrives, she asks, what's wrong? You seem upset. Deadpool replies, I've been hunting a scumbag for a year. I finally found him today, but he slipped through my fingers. But I won't let him get away again. I'll catch him and kill him. As he speaks, we see that the hand Deadpool cut off to escape from Colossus is regenerating, thanks to his healing powers. In another scene, Francis arrives at a lab. This is the same lab where they create mutants and sell them to rich people who use them for their own purposes. When he gets there, he has a sword wound on his body and asks Angel Dust to stitch it up for him. While Angel Dust is tending to his wound, Francis remarks, if I had his regenerative powers, my wounds would heal automatically. I'd be as good as new in no time. But no worries, I'll catch and kill him. Angel Dust asks, who are you talking about? Francis responds, an old enemy of ours, Wade Wilson, whom we turned into a mutant. I thought he was dead, but he's still alive. He's a threat, and we can't take any risks. We need to find and kill him as soon as possible. Francis heads to Weasel's bar to look for Wade Wilson. He asks Weasel, "Do you know Wade Wilson?" Weasel replies, "No, I don't know anyone by that name." But at that moment, Angel Dust spots a photo on the bar's wall. The photo shows Wade Wilson with his girlfriend, Vanessa. Angel Dust says, "I think I've seen Vanessa somewhere before." With this clue, they leave to continue their search for Wade Wilson. At the same time, Weasel calls Wade Wilson and tells him, "Your in-laws were here looking for you. If they catch you, they'll kill you." When Wade finds out that Francis, Angel Dust, and their entire team are after him, he becomes enraged. He heads to the club where Vanessa works with Weasel. When Wade sees Vanessa dancing, he wants to approach her, but then he remembers how disfigured he looks. He fears that Vanessa will be terrified if she sees him. So he leaves and goes to the washroom, trying to gather the courage to tell Vanessa the truth about what happened to him. Meanwhile, a man approaches Vanessa and tells her, "Someone's waiting for you outside the hotel. It might be your boyfriend." Hopeful that Wade has come to see her, Vanessa heads outside. But instead of Wade, it's Francis waiting to abduct her. Wade returns from the washroom and asks Weasel, "Have you seen Vanessa?" Weasel replies, "She just stepped outside." Wade rushes out, but by the time he gets there, Francis and his men have already taken Vanessa away. Enraged and desperate, Wade goes home and vents his anger on everything around him. He starts smashing things, consumed by frustration and fury. Just then, Wade receives a message from Vanessa's number, which was actually sent by Francis, asking him to meet at a location at midnight. Wade, having been in the military, gathers a bunch of weapons into a bag and asks Weasel for more. He recalls that Francis always had other mutants in his lab, so he knew he wouldn't be facing him alone. Therefore, Wade decides to seek help from Colossus and Negasonic at Xavier's school. He takes them to the location in a taxi driven by Dopinder. Dopinder jokes, "You probably don't have money again, so give me a high five instead." Deadpool laughs and says, "No, this time you get 2 high fives," as they head off on their mission. However, Deadpool realizes that he left his bag of weapons in the taxi. He tries calling Dopinder, but Dopinder is too busy driving and ends up crashing the car, missing the call. Deadpool decides to face them all with just his swords. Francis, standing atop a building, shouts, "Hey Deadpool, what's my name?" Deadpool responds, "I'll write it down for you." Thus begins an epic fight scene where Francis's henchmen start shooting at Colossus, Deadpool, and Negasonic. The bullets don't affect Colossus since he is made of steel. Francis then sends Angel Dust to fight them. Colossus says he doesn't hit women, but Angel Dust punches him, sending him flying. Colossus discovers that Angel Dust is also a mutant, and the two begin to fight fiercely. Meanwhile, bullets are flying at Deadpool. Trying to stall, Deadpool takes off his underwear and pretends to surrender, saying, "If you spare me, I'll give you a year's worth of free oil massages." The shooting briefly stops, but then they resume firing. Negasonic, infuriated, unleashes a powerful blast. The explosion propels Deadpool onto the warship's top deck, where he sees Vanessa. Francis has locked her in the same airtight chamber he once used on Deadpool. A fierce battle ensues between Deadpool and Francis. Francis reveals, "I also underwent those experiments, which made me incredibly strong. Now I feel nothing." Deadpool retorts, "This time you will feel it," and they engage in an epic, iconic fight. Simultaneously, the fight between Angel Dust and Colossus intensifies. Angel Dust gets the upper hand, using a large metal wire to choke Colossus. Just then, Negasonic unleashes a massive blast, causing the entire warship to start collapsing. In the midst of the chaos, Francis begins to overpower Deadpool. Vanessa, freeing herself from the airtight chamber, grabs a sword and strikes Francis. As the warship continues to fall apart, Deadpool places Vanessa back into the chamber, telling her to trust him. The warship crashes to the ground, with Francis colliding into a container and getting severely injured. The chamber and Deadpool also plummet to the ground, but Colossus arrives just in time to save Vanessa. At that moment, Deadpool stands up, ready to fight. Francis arrives, determined to take him down. This time, Deadpool is not going to let Francis go. He unleashes a flurry of punches on Francis and is about to kill him. But just then, Colossus arrives and starts giving a speech. He says, "You are a superhero, and a superhero should never take a life. You should give people a chance and leave justice to the law." But Deadpool, being Deadpool, pulls out a gun and shoots Francis in the head. Colossus is so shocked that he vomits. Vanessa then approaches Deadpool from behind and asks him where he has been for the past year. Deadpool tries to explain that those bastards performed numerous experiments on him and that he is not the same person he once was. Vanessa insists on seeing his face. When she removes his mask, there's a poster of Wolverine underneath. Vanessa tells him to remove it as she wants to see his real face. Wade hesitates, thinking she won't be able to handle it, but Vanessa insists, and finally reveals his face. Initially, she finds it strange, but then says, "I'll get used to it. My love for you is still the same as it ever was." They hug, reuniting at last. Colossus and Negasonic stand by, watching them. Deadpool then turns to them and says, "Hey, Steel Giant, Nuclear Queen, are you still standing here? Go on, the movie's over. Get out." The epic movie concludes with this scene. In the post-credits, Deadpool teases that there will be another part of this movie, ending it on a high note. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this explanation, hit that like button, and don't forget to comment below with your favorite Deadpool moment. Subscribe for more awesome movie breakdowns. See you in the next one.